Hi, I'm Katie Bailey and welcome to RCHS News. In this edition of RCHS News, we will bring you stories about Senator Manchin's recent visit to RCHS. We'll show you how freshmen got a dose of real-world reality. We'll take you on a student road trip to Athens, Ohio. We'll explore the number 19 tunnel. We'll take a closer look at the student discipline and attendance policies. We'll explore the love-hate relationship some students have with RCHS. We'll talk to Mr. McPeak and his students about video journalism class. First up, on Thursday, November 10th, Senator Joe Manchin dropped by RCHS on short notice to meet with students and teachers. Here's our report.
On the eve of the presidential election, Monday, November 8th, Senator Joe Manchin III paid an impromptu visit to Rchs County High School to talk to students about a variety of issues he's concerned with. Manchin started his speech by reminding students of their luck in being born in America and relating what he had seen on a recent tour of China.
You don't make a decision whether you go to the 10th grade. You don't make a decision if you go to the 11th grade. You don't make a decision if you go to the 12th grade. The communist leaders make that decision based on how well you did the first 9 years.
Later in his presentation, Manchin addressed the opioid epidemic that threatens West Virginia, urging students to resist drugs as an act of patriotism. Manchin delivered 1,000 drug disposal kits to the school, which are available through Officer Brian Davis. We wouldn't let Senator Manchin leave before he answered a few questions for RCHS News.
Senator Manchin, what is your message for Rchs County students today?
I think basically you can be anything you want to be. You're born in this wonderful country, the United States of America. You've hit the lottery compared to most young people in the world that don't have the same opportunities. The bottom line is, I tell everyone, whatever you think you have done, good, bad, or indifferent, up until this day, today's a new day. Forget about yesterday. If you haven't studied hard enough, if you've done something you're ashamed of, forget you made a mistake. You're a human being. You're expected to make a mistake, but you're also expected to fix it. That's your character. That's who we are as West Virginians. So I'm telling each and every student here, please look at a brighter tomorrow. Forget about yesterday, because yesterday's not going to make you what tomorrow can do for you. And move forward. Everyone can. And I think that basically this is the greatest generation that we're counting on.
Senator Manchin had this to say about how we must proceed as a country after the election is decided.
You can be a Democrat or Republican. You can like Donald Trump or hate Donald Trump. You can like Hillary Clinton or hate Hillary Clinton. Whoever becomes the next president is all of our president. We have to rally behind that person to make sure they're the best they can possibly be, hold them accountable.
Before he left, Manchin said that it is important to be constructive in our criticism of those we may disagree with, and that for the sake of the whole world, America must be united as we move forward.
I hate people who just curse the darkness, they have no basically opinion or thought process how do we make things better. It's easy for me to tell you everything you're doing wrong. But if I want to help you, I should say, this is what you've done wrong, this is what I think you can improve on. And this country has to come back together for the sake of America, for the sake of the whole world.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
With Senator Joe Manchin III for RCHS News, I'm Patrick Shepard.
Back in October, freshmen were treated to a dose of reality when the WVU Extension Service hosted a Reality Day event for freshmen at RCHS. Here's the scoop.
In October, RCHS freshmen got a break from their normal class schedule to spend an afternoon getting a little dose of what to expect after high school when they finally get to live out in the real world. Stephanie Deem from the West Virginia University Extension Service explained the reality store concept.
It's called the Reality Store. We gave them a sheet of paper, told them what their occupation was, how much money they made for a month. We also gave them their marital status and how many children they have. Then they have to visit each station, ranging from buying a house, transportation, utilities, communication. Then there's a station called Chance, where they draw a card and it tells them whether they inherited money or whether they've lost their job. Maybe their husband passed away and now they don't have that income coming in. So it's basically similar to the game of life, and the children are learning what it's like to live on a monthly income.
Joey Napier from Union Bank explained what students do at her reality store station.
They have to open an account. They can pick whether they want a checking or a savings account, and then they decide how much money they have, how much their bills are going to be or what they think they're going to be, and then they have to decide what they want to put in there.
Like many of her classmates, Aaliyah Stanley was surprised by the cost of childcare.
Mine is $180 for a 4-year-old baby, so.
But Stanley says she's not concerned and plans to spend her way through life.
I'm still gonna spend a lot of money. Every time I get money, I just spend it, and I'm not having kids, so I'll be fine.
Garrett Owens was also shocked by the expected costs of everyday life.
No, I'm not having a kid now.
Owens says the reality store experience has motivated him to seek a more lucrative career.
Was going for a teacher. That didn't work out.
Science teacher Rachel Stone thinks the reality store has been an eye-opener for students.
It looks like the kids are going through the different stations. They're looking forward to, what it will be like in life after school. How much everything costs, I guess, is probably the biggest wake-up call for them, and how little we make and where all their money goes, essentially. So.
Keeping it real from the Freshman reality store, I'm Cassie Tallman for RCHS News.
Do you ever feel a little cooped up and like there's not a whole lot to do in Ritchie County on a Friday night? Why not take a road trip? That's what Patrick Shepard, Miria Klein, Hope McAtee, Kiersa Cottrell, and Haley Mitchell did recently. Here's their report titled Athens Road Trip.
I don't know, I guess I'm kind of nervous, I don't want to get lost. I'm excited. I've never really been to Athens. I don't really care for Ohio that much. I feel like Patrick's going to end up falling out the window. But it's cool because Hope's our driver and Hope will hopefully go back for him.
I don't know these people.
I gotta poop. Can you start?
I'm looking forward to it. I hope we'll not get lost and that we'll all fit in the car the way back because we eat a lot. This will be a good road trip, hopefully.
I'll go back to the beginning. Go back to the beginning. Oh shoot, I messed up the password.
Patrick, don't lost my phone.
I'm trying not to, just let me focus. Oh, I messed it up. Okay, I'm gonna stop trying. No! Hey.
Too much, that's an issue, but I'm okay. Because it's been like 3 months.
Tell your friends it was nice to meet them, but I hope I never see them again. I know it breaks your heart. Moved to the city and broke down crying. 4 years, no calls, and then you complete in a hotel crying. I can't stop. No, I can't stop. So baby, hold me closer in the backseat of your Rover that I know you can afford. Like the tattoo on your shoulder, pull the sheets right off the corner of the mattress that you spent. Raise like a motor, we ain't never getting older. We ain't never getting older. We ain't never getting older. Hey, oh shoot! This is the day I left. That's why.
Donkey's Coffee, that was really great. I had a lot of fun upstairs when we went and played Uno and I won. Other than that, it was really fun and interesting to see just people and the place. We also encountered like these drunk guys, 3 of them, and they were like, they were so drunk it wasn't even funny. And they were talking about how how it was Dad's weekend, and then like whenever we walked away, they were like calling Patrick Daddy. It was just fun. It was just a good time.
The restaurant, Oh Betty's Red Hot, was to die for. It seriously was. It was good. Like, it was fun and funny. I had snot coming down my nose because it was so hot. But it was really fun.
So on the way out of school, Hope and the rest of the group forgot me. Or they thought I made them somewhere else, I don't know. so I had to run after him and try and get him to stop. My socks got really wet. I was a little upset. We went to Betty's Red Hot, and it was a really cool place. It was really nice. The food was pretty awesome. And after we went to Betty's Red Hot, we went to Donkey Coffee and Espresso, and I got a macchiato, and I had like a little bit on my chin. And Haley, Miria, and Hope pointed out to me because they thought it was hilarious.
We were in the shop, and I was seeing the really cool white gloves, and I wanted to try them on, like just for fun, just because they were like a bit of glove, like they looked like they were gloves for mimes, you know. And I hear the sound, and then they ripped, and I thought, oh god, okay, this is like the trip to Athens will end. I will have to go to jail and everything. Okay, not to jail, but like I would have to pay for them, and they were like really, for gloves they were really expensive, like I don't know, $60 or something like that. So I was like really shocked and laid them away really quickly. And then later I recognized that I just ripped like one of those little needles, but it wasn't bad, like I didn't actually destroy them. But it was a shocking experience. I don't want to experience that again.
Have you ever heard about the number 19 tunnel in Cairo? Robert Sellers brings us this report about the famous landmark.
In this story, we're going to bring to you a rich history of the Silver Run Tunnel, number 19 in Cairo, West Virginia. We talked with the town clerk of Cairo to get her opinion about Silver Run Tunnel.
The Silver Run Tunnel is about 3 miles from Cairo, and there's a lot of stories about the ghost of Silver Run Tunnel. I have not personally seen anything, but I have people I know that have heard a train in the tunnel. I'm a skeptic, but I am open to the idea. It is kind of creepy when you go into the tunnel. It's very dark in the middle. You can't see anything in it. So if something were to happen in there, I would probably be running.
We caught up with Cairo's store owner, DJ Owen, to get a more historical point of view on the tunnel.
Had people come in the store here, and it was like a couple months apart or so, and they started asking if we knew anything about a child ghost down there. There's an old cemetery on top of the tunnel, and as the lady was going by, it was just about dark. She looked over, and on the tombstone, there was this transparent image of this child on a tombstone kicking her feet back and forth. Well, the second one that came in that started telling us about seeing the image of a child, and they saw this image of the child in the tunnel. As the trains would get to the tunnel, they would see this image of this woman in this long flowing white dress, and the engineer would bring the train to a screeching halt, and there would never be anyone there. You know, one night, just about dark, he got to the tunnel, and the same thing happened. But he had already decided he wasn't stopping the train. So as the train made its way down to the Silver Run Tunnel, it got closer and closer, and there was this woman in this long flowing white dress. And as he got closer to Parkersburg, they got calls at the terminal in Parkersburg that there was something white on the front of the train. But by the time the train got to Parkersburg, the fog had lifted, and there wasn't anything there. But years later, they found the bones of a woman down underneath the house right there at the Silver Run Tunnel. But we have had people in here, one family took their dog down, and it would stand at the end of the tunnel and bark, but it wouldn't go through. 2 people came in earlier this year. The one said, oh, well, she thought she saw something, and the guy said, well, I took pictures in there, but there wasn't anything. And he says, look here, he says to the lady that's with him, and here was an image. It was just like a rounded image, which looked like a tunnel, but it had a white cross in it. I myself have taken pictures in the tunnel. Years later, I found out what orbs are, And then years later I came across those pictures, and here there are orbs in my pictures. If you want to really see a good portion of the tunnel, 3 o'clock in the afternoon is really a good time to go. Check it out if you haven't, and see if you can take pictures, see if you can see any ghosts.
Now that we've taken you through the history of the Silver Run Tunnel, it's up to you to find out for yourself if this is true or not. This is Robert Sellers signing off for RCHS News.
Up next, we continue our series on the Student Handbook. In these reports, we focus on student discipline and attendance policies.
Yeah. So basically all level 1 offenses are your minor stuff: skipping detention, parking lot violation, skipping class. Now when I say minor, that doesn't necessarily mean the discipline on that's going to be minor. Okay, that can start from as little as a warning if it's your first time being in trouble, and it could also escalate to getting kicked out of school if it's habitual and you keep doing it over and over. Probably see somewhere around detention. Kind of how things work here at the discipline system is kind of a ladder effect. Once you use your 3 detentions, we're going to move you to after school. Once you use up all 3 after schools, you're going to start being kicked out of school after that. So that's level 1. Level 2 is kind of the same thing. It's a little bit more still disruptive, potentially harmful behaviors, such as habitual violation of the rules, gang-related activity, insubordination. We get a lot of that. You're told to do something, you refuse. That's level 2. Depending on what the situation is, level 2, that can go from detention after school. It can also go to in-school suspension, and it can also be up to 3 days kicked out of school suspension. So it really kind of depends. Technology misuse is under level 2. So if you're on a website you're not supposed to be, instead of kicking out of school, we actually take away your internet privileges, from up to 3 weeks, 6 weeks, however long that goes. Fighting is classified as level 2. Only if there's a fight without injury. So basically you punch somebody, they don't hit back, you're going to be kicked out of school. That's automatic. Anytime you touch somebody in school, you get kicked out. Level 3, fighting's under there is battery against a student. Some kids don't understand what the difference is between a fight and battery against a student. Battery against a student would be if you're in a fight, the kid is defenseless and you're still beating them up, or they're on the ground, you're kicking them, or that now can escalate all the way to 10-day suspension. Difference between level 2 and level 3. Immediately dangerous, illegal, and/or aggressive behavior can go automatic to 10 days. It doesn't have to. We don't have to limit you at 3. We can go up to 10. Some of that is, like I said, battery against student, false fire alarm, improper negligent use of a motor vehicle, sexual misconduct, defacing school property, trespassing, hazing, threat of injury against a student, employee. Bullying would be all of those. Is it teasing? Is it harassment? Are you being bullied? So really, when bullying's involved, that's classified as level 3. We can go all the way to kicking out of school also. Level 4s, those are no-brainers. Those are automatic 10 days, possible recommendation for expulsion. Drugs, dangerous weapons. Now, dangerous weapons is any knife over 3.5 inches. Okay, not a little pen knife people bring or a pocket knife. You still can get kicked out of school for that. But you bring a weapon on school property or drugs, you're going to be kicked out of here automatic 10 days. There'll be no questions asked. There'll be no warnings. There'll be no anything. We have to keep this place. That's pretty well all level 4 in the state. Once that happens, we're required to 10 days and recommend for expulsion. A couple other things we want to talk about discipline-wise is racial, sexual, ethnical, religious harassment. We do get a lot of harassment, not really race, religious, or sexual. We do have some bullying that goes on everywhere. You don't really see alcoholic beverages much. That's why we limit. You're not supposed to have outside containers in here. We can't verify what you're putting in there or not. We're trying to crack down on that. The big one we see is tobacco. You're not allowed to have it, and we've been working with the prosecutor, with the pro officer. I would like to see we charge you guys a $180 ticket every time you get caught, because apparently you can afford to keep buying it. You can afford to pay the ticket. I know everybody does it at home. The rule says you can't do it here at school. That's adults too. So, between 7:30 and 3:30, you can find something else to do besides rub snuff. It's pretty simple on that. Also, we have textbooks, student textbooks. This goes in discipline. You lose yours, you can have to pay it back. You rip it up and vandalize it, whatever. That's defacing school property. you have to pay for that stuff too. We get some of this stuff about lockers. Are we allowed to search them? What can you keep in them? The lockers are actually school property. We have the right to search them at any time. So if we get word or suspicion you have something you shouldn't have, we have the authority to come down and search those. Same thing goes to tearing them up. They do not belong to the kids, so we really don't have much on the lockers getting tore up. The another thing we see on the discipline now, we just had that talk 2 days ago, is cell phones. Not allowed to have them on school. Technically not allowed to have them on the bus. Now some drivers allow that and some don't. That's where kids are getting in trouble. Some teachers in the building allow it. Okay, but that doesn't mean in the hallways, in the cafeteria, at lunchtime, out in the back patio, you cannot have a cell phone. And that pretty well sums up the discipline.
We asked students around the school about how many absences they think they can have before they take semester tests. This is what they said.
10, 5. I really don't know.
You're allowed to have like 8, no, like 6, I don't know.
3, I don't know.
How many absences can you have before you have to take semester tests?
I don't know, I don't remember.
We sat down with Mr. Lawrence to clear up all this confusion.
Yeah, once they have 8 absences, they automatically take semester tests. Now, we give the students 5 parent notes per semester, parent notes or doctor notes, to count towards that. But the school side, once you missed 8 days in the classroom, you have to take semester test.
Well, there you have it. The answer is 8. How many absences are you allowed to have before you get involved with truancy?
9, 3, I don't know, 4, 6, 8.
Is it 9? 9. No. 9.
How many?
9 absences.
Well, truancy is a little different. They have to be unexcused absences. So after all those notes you have, you're still missing, there's no reason, that's unexcused. After 3, the attendance director at the board office sends you guys a letter. Once you miss 5, you get a letter from myself. You'll meet with me. I'll call your parents. And once you meet 10 unexcused absences, same thing. But then we're going to go to court and have truancy because there's obviously some issues. You've used all your parent notes, all your doctor notes, and you're still not coming. That's when we go to court.
Well, there you have it, guys. The answer is 10. Mrs. Knopp and Mr. Hott both explain why it is important to come to school.
It's important to come to school every day because you need to learn responsibility, and an employer doesn't want to hire you in the real world if you don't have a good track record with coming to school.
Because you need to work on social skills to learn how to get along in life.
Thank you, Mrs. Knopp and Mr. Hott, for that very important information.
Just come to school.
Because semester test sucks.
Up next, let's take a look at the love-hate relationship students have with Ritchie County High School.
I'm Will Ashcraft, and this week we talked to students about what they love and hate about this school. What do you love and hate about this school?
Well, I love that we have an hour lunch, but, well, I really hate that we can't have our cell phones out during lunch, and I hate links. I just don't like it. One day a week may not seem like a lot, but it hurts.
What do you love and hate about this school?
I love the people and how nice they are to me since I'm new to this school. They've been really helpful and stuff. And I hate links. That really ruins my Tuesday every Tuesday.
What do you love and hate about this school?
Well, the thing I love the most about the school was probably because that I grew up here and, it's just home to me. I also really I feel like the teachers really do get involved. And I think a lot of them do enjoy being here. And, no food in the gym. That's pretty dumb, too. What else do I like? I like the courtyard. I love the courtyard for the seniors. I think that's, an awesome privilege for the seniors. They really do a lot for the seniors. They really make their last year memorable, and I really appreciate that. I love the kids here. They're good kids. And that's about it. Oh, one thing I do hate is that our sports programs are going downhill.
What do you love and hate about the school?
Well, I love to be able to wake up every morning and come here and make fun of my friends. But I hate Miss Lauren Morgan.
I'm Will Ashcraft, signing out for RCHS News.
For our final report in this episode, we sat down with Mr. McPeak and some of his students to get the inside scoop on video journalism experience.
Alright, I've had Mr. McPeak since my freshman year, and I had him creative writing, English, all that junk. Video journalism McPeak is a whole different McPeak. Alright? It takes a while to warm up to him, alright? Because he expects so much out of you. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's just, it's rough. You gotta work. You gotta work for what you get, and even if you work hard enough, you still don't get what you wanted.
So of all the classes I teach, this is the class that's most like what it's like to go out in the workplace and be given responsibilities and be given the freedom to just figure out ways to carry out those responsibilities.
I liked it because it was kind of we had a lot of freedom and a lot of trust with McPeak, so he let us go and kind of do our own thing, and I really like that.
I don't know. I mean, I think, you know, every student has their favorite teacher, and I know there are a couple of kids that really like having class with me, like my style, and I think there's some others that aren't so fond of me. Teachers get used to that. You know, you can't make everybody happy.
He explains stuff very well.
I like that he let us be outside of the class. Yeah. McPeak's always fun.
Always, not always, but like most of the time.
Unless he's putting a camera in your face, and then you're just like...
When he's angry at something.
I think a kind of student that's willing to sort of try new things, take on a lot of responsibility, experiment with ideas and techniques, that's the kind of student that does well in my classes. A student that just wants everything just spelled out, fill in the blank, not going to do so well with me, because that's not really, I try to avoid that in my teaching as much as I can. Try to get kids to think on their own, which sometimes is like pulling teeth, but when I can get them to do it, the rewards are great. Students get a lot of pride and satisfaction out of what they're able to do, and I've seen that in video journalism class. I've never seen students so excited about their work, because we get to put this on YouTube and a lot of people watch it, and I know their friends come up to them, you know, in the cafeteria or whatever, and comment on their work. So there've been a lot of rewards in the class.
And that's it for this episode of RCHS News. See you next time.